99 other French women denouncing the Me Too campaign and making news around the world. Why are they taking such a public stand? Here to break down the controversy is our own international affairs correspondent, Bianca Zanini, and culture correspondent, Maya Margit. Welcome to the Peanut. So, I mean, this is literally, making headlines. What do we know as far as what made her kind of start this campaign and, the fact that so many women jumped aboard?
Right, so it's a group of 100 French women, actors, some very prominent philosophers and writers in France, all women, who signed and penned this letter about how they felt that the Me Too movement, following the allegations against Harvey Weinstein, has now gone too far, according to them. They feel that now it's turned into, quote, a witch hunt, and that it's become dogmatic and rigid, morally speaking, kind of puritanical. That's the word they use, Puritanism, and that they are against it, and they hope that the discourse can change and that there could be more freedom to speak about sexual harassment in a different way.
Right. I mean, it is interesting. I mean, listen, we are hearing stories all the time, and we're hearing more people kind of, come out. There is, I think we could all agree, a fine line between, raping someone and, like, hitting on someone, with all the things in the middle. I mean, do you agree to a certain degree that it has gone too far in a certain way toward some people and getting put in the same pot?
Look, I don't know if the question is whether it's gone too far. It's a really, really old discussion that really defines what feminism is. It's something that comes up all the time. Basically, whenever you focus too much on what men are doing wrong, on the power imbalance, there are voices saying that you're victimizing women, you're removing their voices, you're removing their agency, and you're infantilizing them. And that's what these women are saying right now. They're saying this has gone too far. The women can also choose to see when they're hit on, to see it as harassment or as a non-event.
Right.
That's what they're saying.
Right.
But on the other hand, what the Me Too campaign has been trying to focus on and trying to change is to break with this normalization that all women have experienced some sort of unwanted attention. And one of the sentences that I keep hearing is that men should be free to hit on women. That's what she says.
Right, and she was saying it's part of an essential part of sexual freedom.
Right, so men should be free to hit on women. Women should be free to hit on men or on other women as they want. That is not the issue. The issue is when it comes to unwanted attention. The issue is when you cross the line. The issue is the power imbalance that exists because we're in a society that's still run by men.
Right. We also hear, listen, I mean, like the French, culture, it is the place of romance, and, it is like, you mentioned that, like, voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Like, that's the first thing you learn in French class now. But, I mean, is there, how do you define the fine line between a guy just finding you nice and wanting to ask you on a date versus, like, responding that he's, like, trying to have sex with you?
I think the fine line kind of lies in also the setting and the environment where this takes place. If it's in a workplace and if there's a power imbalance, as Bianca mentioned, where it's a boss and their employee, or there's some kind of power dynamic that's very unfair, this is where you cross the line. And that's the problem I have with this letter, is that they say, this is one of their quotes, men who are sanctioned in their work, pushed to resign, when their only wrongdoing was touching a knee, trying to steal a kiss, speaking about intimate things during a professional dinner, or sending messages that are sexually loaded to a woman who wasn't attracted to them. Those are all instances of sexual harassment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the law would disagree with this letter. So there are things that are good about the letter in that it's trying to open up a discussion. The bad thing is I think they go too far, and it should not be, sanctioning and agreeing with sexual harassment.
There's also a generational thing here, because they do have a point. We have to be careful not to become too puritanistic or too Puritan, is what they say. But Catherine Deneuve really embodied the sexual freedom movement. She was a very central figure. She was fighting for women's right to own their own sexuality.
Correct.
And to not have it hidden as something that should be hidden
so it's
away.
Like, right, exactly. So, it's like owning it versus not being victimized by it.
Right,
or
but
owning it in a way of being able to say, I'm never going to date you, leave me alone, and having more modern themes of, like, that standing, not having there be repercussions.
But I think that that's the point. Like, this is where I was going to, because she's 74. She's in another generation. There's a generational divide apart from just a cultural divide, where she's afraid, and these women are afraid that we're taking a step back and making anything sexual into hush-hush and dangerous area, where the younger women now are growing up, are becoming women in an era where sexuality is everywhere. And it's open, and they're more likely to own it and know what to do with it.
As far as I know, though, Catherine Deneuve never referred to herself as a feminist. She was very weary of kind of, you know, associating herself with these kinds of movements and groups, even though she did have some links to the feminist movement. But, you know, I have to also point out that she did recently defend, you know, the film director, controversial film director, Roman Polanski, and his allegations of rape. She did ask the question, was it really rape? You know, it's so she also has, like, the other side of the coin there. And
we're out of time because we got to get to yet another story about James Franco. James Franco, thank you, ladies, by the way, now being accused